done. We thank you for allowing his blood to atone. And we thank you for tearing the veil so that we can step before the throne and worship our King. Father, we thank you for your Son, your only begotten, and may his selfless sacrifice be never forgotten. We thank you for allowing his blood to atone, and we thank you for tearing the veil so that we can step before the throne and worship our King. Father, we thank you for your painful loss. We thank you for giving him the keys of sin and death after he died on the cross. We thank you for allowing his blood to atone. And we thank you for tearing the veil so that we can step before the throne and worship our King.
Hi everybody, my name is Jason.
I'm Caden. I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahoo and the Torah YouTube channel, Rumble channel, Odyssey, and we are your family and you guys are our family. We really, really appreciate all of you guys out there. We thank you very much for joining us and we thank you for being a part of Yah's family. We thank you for just being a stone for us and our family, and we really, really, really appreciate you guys, and we hope that you guys are having a wonderful Shabbat. Cade, will you open us in prayer, please?
Personally, Father, Elohim Most High, we thank you for once again bringing us back together as a family, bringing us back together. United hearts with united minds, all for you, for your glory, for your will. We ask that your Shabbat is blessed. We ask that your Shabbat is the day that you have ordained, that it is the day we make the most of this day as we learn, as we dive into your word, as we read what you have set out for us today, as your will has brought us all back together to learn what is in your Torah, what is in your word. We thank you for your Son. Thank you for your glory. We thank you for your Son and your reign, showing us that you are around us and showing us that you care for us and love us with everything that you have done for us. We ask that today is blessed, today is Kodesh, in his name. Amen.
Amen. All right, Jade, do you want to read our Shema?
Yes. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and on your gates.
Okay. All right, everybody. Greetings to everybody who is out there. Let's see if we can actually get the chat to work on this whole thing right here. See if it works here. All right, Mr. Cole, who do we have here in our group?
We have Brother Glenn and wife Marina.
Hi, Brother Glenn and Morena.
We have some new faces. We have Kimberly Addock.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
We have Jeremy Pierce.
Cover to cover with Jeremy.
The Grand, our grandma's here.
Oh, Grandma. We miss you. We miss you a lot. We miss seeing you every single day. Much love to you.
Sylvia.
Sylvia Ewarts. Hi, sis. Much love to you, and I hope your sister is doing well. We're praying for her as well. Much love.
Zachariah, Rhiannon, and Damon.
Oh, another huge family that we love, and it is just good to see you, Damon. Good to see you, Zach and Rhiannon. Much love.
Praying they're all getting better too, because they've all been sick.
Oh, yes. Okay, so keep them in prayers, guys. They got the sickness, and sometimes those sicknesses are hard to shake. We just went through the sickness here in this house, and we survived. Everybody survived. We are all good. Miss Nicole, who else you got?
We have Mary Teresa Rice. She's a new name as
Hi,
well.
Mary Teresa Rice. And Joanna. I see Joanna popping in here. Hi, Joanna.
Jeannie, not of this world.
And Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie.
Emissary of Elohim.
All right. Emissary of Elohim. And hopefully he's got his little baby there with us as well. Much love to you, brother.
Another new name, Honeymoon Stitch.
Honeymoon Stitch.
I think that's what
All
that
right.
is.
Much love to you. We're brother, sister. I'm not sure who.
Did I say Jeannie already? I said
Yeah, we got Jeannie.
CA, Rhiannon's mom.
Yep. And CA. Hi. Hi, CA. Hi, Rhiannon's mom.
And
Good to
Bobby
see you.
Z. Chris.
Chris, Bobby Z, yep, from the Bobby Z channel. Chris from the Bobby Z channel, super awesome dude. Really, really appreciate all of you guys out there. We will always apologize first and foremost because of our dogs. Right now we have 10 pit bulls, and they are we call them our little alligators with teeth, and they are in and around us all the time, and so they sometimes they're hard to control, and so we apologize for any kind of disturbance that they cause on this. Miss Nicole, do you have anyone else?
I think that was everybody, because you said Joanna.
Yep,
So
we
I
said
think we're
Joanna.
good. Okay.
All right, everybody. So we are going to go over some amazing things right here. These are the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. And the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator are these things that have been completely neglected. We ended up with 35,000 religions, or so Brother Glenn says. I thought it was around 60,000, but we'll go with 35,000 different religions that are documented out there. And when you inspect these religions, it's very, very clear that they are contrary to what scriptures say. And one of the very most important things, and one of the things that all of our forefathers and foremothers knew and figured out, is what our Creator said. And he says we need to be in obedience with his laws, with his statutes, and with his commandments. And in obedience doesn't mean that we're holy rollers. It doesn't mean that we're holier than thou. It means that we are loyal to our Creator and loyal to his ways. And as we go through these laws, statutes, and commandments, they are very, very much common sense. They are things that when we apply them to our lives, not only will we live longer, but there is a little gate, and that narrow gate is salvation. That salvation is what we get with who everyone calls Jesus the Christ, but his name was Yahushua. And so the small gate is Yahushua HaMashiach. And the gate talks about there's a lot of people that go through it, but there is a broad path that leads to destruction. And our Messiah in Matthew 7 very clearly says that most people do not make it. He also says that there's so many people that are out there that think they know him and think they know his ways, but he tells them to depart from him because they work lawlessness. Now, lawlessness is a life without the Torah. It means you're living in iniquity, and the only place we ever have in any of the scriptures that we find out what iniquity is in the Torah. And the Torah is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And so this list that we're pulling out from right here are from those books. And this is a list that we put together a year or so ago as we were trying to figure out exactly what these laws were, because all we have is we've only had what the Jews say are the 613 laws. And when you actually go through their 613 laws, there's not 613 laws. And so there was no place out there that we could find that really had a good definition and a good listing of them. And so we put them out there. And so this is them, and these are this list. And much love to the Grand. I love seeing you guys out there. You guys are so family to us. You guys have held us up in so many tragic and tremendously bad places. And we hope that we are able to help lift you guys up. And if you guys have any prayer requests, there's an email at the bottom of the description of this, and you guys can send us an email, and we will fervently pray for you guys, as we hope that you guys will fervently pray for us. And so, guys, let us begin in this. And let us begin with the laws, statutes, and commandments. And if anybody out there has any questions at all, toss them in the chat. Let's discuss them. This is why we are here. We're here as a family, not just this family right here around this little table out in the middle of a jungle, but we are family with you guys that are sitting around a giant table that our Creator has provided, that we are able to discuss this and go over them. And so any new faces that are out there, anybody new that has any kind of questions or things don't make sense, let's discuss them and let's see if they apply to us or not. All right, commandment number 1 is be fruitful.
Number 2, multiply.
Replenish the earth.
Subdue it. Have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
Okay, the herb bearing in every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families.
Master sin.
Every clean moving thing that lives shall have food for you.
Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments.
Okay, and I do like to stop and pause on this one, because if you guys could see this list right here, this is a huge list. This is the one and only commandment that has been reiterated over 53 times in scriptures. Some commandments are mentioned once or twice. This commandment is mentioned over and over and over. And so if we are striving for this kingdom, if we're striving for this world beyond this world, part of that is that we need to guard the covenant laws, statutes, and commands. And guarding them doesn't mean that we nail them to the cross and we don't know them and don't apply them to our lives. We reiterate these every single week because we are trying to get people to write these on their heart, mind, and souls. And there's a new covenant that's talked about in Jeremiah. There's a new covenant that is talked about in Hebrews 8. And the part of the covenant is like a rental agreement. That rental agreement says you will pay me X amount of money, and your sewer's provided, your water's provided, your trash is this, but you have to take care of it, and you have to take care of certain things. This covenant is the same way with us. In Hebrews 8 and Jeremiah, it talks about the part of our Creator says, if you will write these laws, statutes, and commandments upon your heart, mind, and soul, I will be your Elohim. Basically, he's saying, I will be your God. I will be your leader. I will be the one who rides with you, who walks with you, who talks with you, who puts his arms around you and comforts you. And all you have to do is be loyal to him. And loyalty begins with things of this nature, that we are keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right.
Honeymoon just said the whole of the inspired scripture, the whole meaning is it is one thing, brethren. It's not about the religion. It's about how to have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Yahuwah.
Absolutely. And brother, sis, that was absolutely right. And this is that we have these laws, statutes, and commandments, that when we are abiding in them, we are understanding the heart, mind, and soul of our Creator. We are seeing what He wants for us and how He wishes us to live. So absolutely, very, very good comment. Good to see that. All right, commandment 12: every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old.
Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover and the Pesach.
Keep the feast of unleavened bread, matzah.
There's one Torah for the stranger and the Hebrew.
Okay, and I want to touch on this as well, because this is very much truth right here. When it says there's one Torah for the stranger and one for the Hebrew, when we have these 35,000 different religions, when you read them and what you read as far part of the church, when these churches say that we believe this, we believe that, and when you are going to a church on a Sunday and you're violating the Sabbath day, which is really a holy day. This is a day that marks the people of our Creator. And there's one way that we are able to see if we are our Creators is by being loyal to Him. And so when there's one Torah for the stranger and one for the Hebrew, it doesn't matter what race, what creed, where you're at in the world. If you want to be a child of the Most High, we all fall under the exact same sets of rules and regulations, and our Creator is going to extract us one day. There's going to be a second Exodus, and all of us, Yah willing, I don't know if it's our lifetime or not, but one day we're going to get to meet each other, and it may be on that road out of wherever we are at that we are called out of this place, because there will not be any flesh left unless Messiah comes soon. And so that is why that we are always talking to people about this Torah, about this the greatest things that we've ever found in our lives. Okay, sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
And there are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
You do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's.
Do not make an altar from rock that a tool has touched.
Do not go up the altar by the steps.
If a man steals a cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
Yahuwah's laws for criminals.
Do not lie with a beast.
No sacrifice to their gods.
Do not oppress a stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return it to him before sunset.
Do not curse the Lord of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report.
Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge righteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
Do not oppress a stranger, love the stranger.
Give your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger who sends for you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make her use this anointing on a normal person. Do not make her use this perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Okay, in the dietary laws, it only shows us three sections under this, but under Leviticus 11, we have an entire set of laws that we have for dietary stuff, and it is a lot of people will say, well, Peter had a dream, and there's a bunch of animals that came down, and Peter had a commandment. He said, slay and eat. Well, the first thing that Peter said was that I've never had anything unclean, anything that's uncommon touch my lips. What do you mean by this? And so the dream was repeated to him again. And he just did not understand what in the world he was talking about. And then all of a sudden, there comes a knock on the door. And there's 3 Gentiles. And in the religion of Judaism, you are not to associate with those who are not in Judaism. And our Creator was telling Peter that, hey, you can now go minister to the Gentiles. You can go minister to those who are not straight Yahudis. And so when you're talking about unclean food or deciding that, hey, you know what, I'm going to eat unclean food and it doesn't matter, there's a list of it. And it's not because our Creator doesn't want us to have good stuff. If he didn't want us to have good stuff, he would have outlawed sugar. He would have outlawed chocolate. But he didn't, right? He outlawed the stuff that makes us sick. When you guys are eating shrimp and lobster, if you guys look at the cycle of life with a lobster and a shrimp, you can stick a pile of shrimp into a polluted bucket of water, and inside of a couple weeks, they will sit there and clean that water. That water is drinkable. And you will pus pockets of shrimp that are all breaded and that taste really good. You dip it in some little you are eating hormones, and you're eating things that these things have cleaned. The same goes for things like lobster. When I was a kid, I had a fish tank, and I had these little crab things in there that are in the unclean food list. Every time a fish would die, and it would go around and it would grab this nasty old fish that the fish had been there for a long time, and it would sit there and mow on it. It would just completely eat it. And then that's the same thing we're eating. Same thing goes for swine. If you guys are eating these things, they are not good for your body. And so it's not that our Creator doesn't want us to have good things, it's that he wants us to be safe. And there's so many people that get very, very sick when they eat swine and they eat the unclean foods, but yet it's part of a mainstream diet nearly everywhere across the world. And so that's what we're talking about with the dietary laws. All right, women's time of separation. There's laws, regulations for all of that.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Do keep the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippurim.
Do not cover the nakedness of your family.
All right, hold on. We got Jeannie who says things are buffering. Let's see. Let's just give it a second here as we talk about this. Yeah, let's see. If anybody else, can you guys hear us out there okay? Or is it an isolated incident, or are they killing this stream? Let us know. And it might be our jungle internet. We don't have great internet out here. Okay, Joanna's nothing buffering there. Okay, that's good. Jeannie, sometimes you can close out of that, and sometimes it comes in and people say that helps them out a lot. So hopefully it's not with all of you guys. So we will continue on. Where did you say, Eli?
Stage 5. Do not cover the nakedness of your family.
Okay, do not take your woman's sister for a wife.
Do not lie with a woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely to defraud your neighbor.
Jeannie wants you to explain what happens with the shrimp again.
So shrimp are one of these little critters, and you can do a lot of research on that. So let's go back over that again. And they've taken buckets of polluted water before, and you can dump shrimp inside of that. The shrimp will go around and they will clean this stuff up. They are bottom dwellers, bottom feeders. Our Creator is such an amazing Creator that he created things like the shrimp, like the lobster. They go around eating the dead things and the things that have been dead for a very long time. And going back to the little crab I used to have when I was a kid, I wasn't great at taking care of my fish, and so sometimes they would die, and sometimes I would kind of leave them there for too long, and then oh, it's happening again. I don't know what's going on, Junie, but they would leave them. I would leave it there, and these things would like turn white and really nasty. And the crab would go around, and they would find this thing, and I would watch him grab the hold of the nasty fish and chew it up and clean it. So yeah, they're garbage disposals. Yeah, and that is the thing. Okay, Jeannie, that's good. You can hear that now, and hopefully you got that. But yeah, it is our Creator is amazing, right? Not only does he create the most amazing environment that we can possibly see with the sun that rises and the moon that sits in the sky and human bodies that are just amazing, you're right? We live in an environment where things of like, arm hair, we have bugs and critters and things of that nature that will crawl on you, and the hair on your arms and the hair on your legs are little sensory things that tell you that you're about to get bit, that something's on you. Everything that we have has been figured out. Think about our ears, right? Our ears are, instead of little tiny holes on the side of our head, we have these little funnels that we're able to hear, and these sound waves that go from one side of the world to the other, we're able to pick this stuff up. Our Creator is just so good at what he does. I don't know if he did it all in one try. I don't know if he has a lab up in the Shamayim that he's been working on this stuff for billions of years. But I do know that the end result of everything that we have, from the air that we breathe all the way to the eyes and vision that we see, is absolutely perfect. All right, 72. Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage they are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie to take one.
Do not eat of the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not insult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nations.
Keep the feast of first fruits, Shavuot, the Omer count.
Keep the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shem Yatzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Pay injury for injury.
Honor the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins and repay you have trespassed against.
Wear disease on the four corners of your garments.
The law of whoever touches a corpse.
Follow the laws of inheritance.
Torah of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Okay, and let me do a quick stop point on this one right here. This is a very important commandment, and a lot of us have grown up in religion where we've done just this. The Torah is very easy. As you guys see as we're reading through this stuff, it's not this gobbledygook of like, oh, this is really hard to do. It's simple stuff, right? You either eat pig or you don't eat pig. You either keep the Sabbath or you don't keep the Sabbath. One of them is do not take away or add from the word. And when we are doing things such as, say, celebrating Christmas, Easter, the pagan holidays, we are told over and over and over not to do that kind of stuff. When we are worshiping on a Sunday and we believe that our Creator is there, we need to understand that our Creator is not in a temple that is built by hands of man. He is not ordained. It is on the wrong day. And we're there, as a Christian, when I grew up in the Christian religion, we were always heading out. We'd be to church by 10 o'clock. My mom would ship me off to Sunday school. 11 o'clock was church. We'd go up there. Afterwards, sometimes there was a potluck and we'd have pig and beans. We would have all of this unclean food. Sometimes, most every time, we'd go out to eat afterwards, and we were pulling out money out of our wallets, and we were paying these people that were supposed to be serving us. It probably doesn't matter because it was on the wrong day anyway, but had it really been on a sanctified day like the Shabbat, there's rules inside of this that we aren't to pay people. We're not to have any of our animals. They're not supposed to be working. We're not supposed to work. We're not even supposed to be taking off, turning on our car and taking off and driving places. It is very clear that a Shabbat is a homebound thing. There is shalom on the Shabbat, and it's a day of rest. It's a day of rest for our hearts, for our minds, for our souls, for everything that we have. And when you get into the routine of keeping the Shabbat, it's very, very clear the first time that you actually have some sort of horrible incident where you're unable to keep it, that when you don't get that day of rest and your body has become accustomed to it, that it is meant for a very special reason. And in these days, we can pray, and we can read our scriptures, we can get closer to our Creator, and we can rest, and we can do what our Creator says. And He says that's the mark of a person of our Creator. All right, continue on. Guard your soul. And guarding your soul is all of this, right? You won't be guarding your souls when you nail the most awesome things, the laws, statutes, and commandments, to the cross. And they say they don't apply to me. They apply to the old people, right? Even though when you read scriptures very slowly and very clearly, it says for all generations. It didn't say till Messiah comes, and people will say, oh, Jason, Messiah filled all of it. He fulfilled the commands. They're no more. No, fulfilled doesn't mean abolished. Fulfilled means to make to the top, to walk out perfectly, to fill it up. He showed us the way that it can be done, and that's what we need to theme our life on. Okay, learn to fear Yahuwah.
You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
Bind the laws upon your hand and the frontlets between your eyes.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do what's right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by His name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of the false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger of clean food that dies of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give your tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
Laws at the end of the 7-year release.
Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
Notice with 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the prophet Yahuwah has chosen.
Draw a test of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
I deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
The first child is double portions.
If your brother's cattle or clothes were lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman should never wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that they lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The law of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for pledge.
If you lend to your brother and do not enter his house to get your payment, he must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset if that was the pledge.
Do not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back to the forgotten sheep in the field. Leave it for the stranger, fatherless, and widow.
Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of at the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot.
All right, so there you go, guys. Around 157 commandments that we have with this, and they are, I mean, if anyone thinks that they are too hard to keep, that's something we should definitely pop in there, and that is, into the chat. These are things that we talk about all the time, and as we are, we're not exactly a large channel, but we end up getting a lot of people who are in a lot of mixed religions out there. And the very first thing they will always tell us is the laws of our Creator are gone. They don't apply to us anymore, and we don't need to keep them, and you're free from them. And if you think that you're free from them, that is a tragic mistake, because you're free. I mean, if you're free from them, do you want to drink the blood? Do you want to look at your kids naked? Do you want to commit adultery? I mean, what exactly are you freeing them from? And then they will say, well, Jason, there's only 10 moral laws. And, the 4th commandment is keep the Shabbat. So right out of the gate, you're down to a 90% if you only think that you have 10. And, when you read things of like the Shema, where you love our Creator with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, that's not taking the laws of our Creator and dumping them in the trash. That's not doing anything of the sort. That is where we are called to keep them through everything. And we need to make them part of our lives, and we need to enforce them with our kids, go over them, and just make them everything with it. And when we do this, then we have this little litmus test. And anything that goes outside of this litmus test, when you run into these trials and tribulations where the devil is going to try to get you, you will know how we are to respond and how to react. What do you got, Mr. Cole?
Emissary said, and I don't know who this person is, but he says, gotta love G. Stevens for some of these quotables. It's not a burden when you want to keep it.
Yeah, it's absolutely not a burden when you want to keep it, for sure. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and very, very cool to see you. Honeymoon. Was it honeymoon?
Honeymoon Stitch, I think, is.
Honeymoon Stitch, yeah.
I think.
Okay, all right, guys. Let us get into this, and we will. To read this, we have to turn this chat off here, which I really hate to do because I don't know if we can get it back on because YouTube is really funny these days. But what we have here, and so Mr. Cole will give us what's going on in here. Chat, keep it up, keep talking. Mr. Cole will interrupt us if there's anything. It's not even interrupting us. She will let us know if anyone has anything interesting to say, and we value what you guys have to say absolutely. And this is the power of the cool internet and the power of the technology in this world, that we can all really sit as a big family and discuss this stuff. All right, so we are finishing up in Genesis, and we only have 2 chapters left, Genesis 50. And Genesis goes up to Genesis 50. We're in 48 today. And so we are in Bereshith, which is Genesis, beginnings. And it begins in the bottom scriptures is the scriptures of Yah. It's the ex-Hallelujah scriptures, but it is the new scriptures that will be out, very produced, Yah willing, very, very soon. And what's really super cool is there is an Android app that is being made right now that will have all of these books in it. It will have the entire 66 books of the Hallelujah Scriptures, and will also have another 27 of them. And for those who do not know, my family and I have been working on this now for what feels like forever, but we are down to about 27 of the extracurricular books. We're almost out of the Hallelujah Scriptures. We've read some of these books over 5 times in a row. We're getting every jot, every tittle, and we're bringing this back, and it has the restored name of Yahuwah, Yahushua, and it takes a lot of the pagan stuff out of it. And so the Android app will be absolutely free. You will not actually, there's no way to actually donate to Boss Clan. You can't, we don't take donations around here. We're not priests. We're not holy people. We're simply your family that are sitting out there. And so when this application is out, it's going to look just like the Sefer app. And which I don't know if anybody's used the Sefer app, but it's a bad translation. Unfortunately, he went crazy on it and had overzealous translators, is what he says to us. But we used to read from it all the time, and it got so bad where he replaced Yahuwah and Yahushua, and people were so confused with it, we just decided we better do our own. And so we hope inside of 45 days there will be that Android app that will be out there, and it will be really, really amazing. We can't wait for that. So much love to those who are helping us with that and bringing that to life. Okay, here we go. Bereshith 48. After these events, it came to be that it was said to Joseph, "See, your father is sick." And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Jacob was told, "See, your son Joseph is coming to you." And Yisrael strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz, in the land of Canaan, and barak me, and said to me, See, I am making you bear fruit, and shall increase you, and make you an assembly of peoples, and give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim, before I came to you in Mitzrayim, are mine. As Reuben and Shimon, they are mine. Your offspring, whom you shall bring forth after them, are yours, and let them be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance." Okay, now, why did he do this? Why did he just take his kids that literally weren't his direct kids, but they were from his son, and why did he make them his own direct descendants of this?
I think maybe he knew the future of like how Ephraim was going to rule Israel.
Why did Reuben get cursed essentially?
Because he did evil with his father's wife, so he got cursed. He lost the priesthood, he lost the kingship, and he also lost the inheritance.
Yeah, the inheritance. Yeah, and so he, you can read in the Testament of Reuben how distraught he was over what he did, but he leads it up to drinking alcohol and to letting Hasatan tempt him. And once he did what he did, you can't undo the kind of vile act that it was, especially lying with your father's wife. It was a very, very bad thing. All right, 7. And I, when I came from Padam, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Okay, now we're heading up to the top, and this will be, we'll only have 2 more weeks of this. Sorry, guys. We only have 2 more weeks of the Targums, and we've decided as we've gone through the Targums that there was just a few too many bones that we have to explain out of this. It is a very interesting read, but there's a lot of people that are new to this that there's some things in here, and so if there's something funny in here, we will definitely go over it. But you do get some Very interesting things. I got to give that. So we're at the Targums at the top. And after these things, it was told Joseph, behold, thy father is lying ill. And he took his 2 sons with him, Manasseh and Ephraim. And it was announced to Jacob, saying, behold, thy son Joseph hath come to thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai revealed himself to me at Luz, in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. And he said to me, behold, I will increase thee and multiply thee, and make thee an assemblage of tribes, and will give this land to thy sons after thee for an everlasting inheritance. And now, thy 2 sons who have been born to thee in the land of Mitzrayim, before I came to thee into Mitzrayim, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh, as Reuben and Shimon, shall be reckoned unto me. And thy children, whom thou mayest beget after them, shall be thine. By the name of their brethren shall they be called in their inheritance. And I beseech thee to bury me with my fathers. Rachel died by me suddenly in the land of Canaan, while there was yet much ground to come to Ephrath. Nor could I carry her to bury her in the double cave. But I buried her there, in the way of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Okay, now we're heading back down to the scriptures of Yah down here. Verse 8. And Yisrael saw Joseph's sons, and he said, who are these? And Joseph said to his father, they are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, please bring them to me, and let me barak them. And the eyes of Yisrael were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Yisrael said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, and Ephraim with his right hand toward Yisrael's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Yisrael's right hand, and he brought them near him. And Yisrael stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he barak Joseph, and said, the Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil, barak these youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth.
The Grand wants to know what happened to the other brother's bones.
I don't know. I do not know. It was interesting, though, here that I found in the Targums that he said he was unable to carry the bones with him, which is very interesting. So I don't know, LeGrand. Maybe Brother Glenn knows. I haven't read.
It might still be in Egypt.
Yeah, it might still be in Egypt. All right.
Oh no, it's strange that he would bless the younger than the older. But I think it has to do with something about him getting the blessing and instead of Esau's.
Well, what we read as we read through scriptures, as you go through them, when it talks about all the tribes, when it talks about Ephraim and Manasseh, they become a people just like all of the rest of the sons of Jacob. So where he basically is almost like 13 tribes at this point.
We lose a tribe. I think Dan.
Dan
doesn't return. Dan's one of the tribes that doesn't make it back.
Okay, Dan's gone. Benjamin almost got left behind as well. They almost got annihilated.
Savages.
Yeah, the savages. All right, let's continue on into this.
Brother Glenn says he'll research it.
All right, thanks, Brother Glenn.
But emissary of Elohim says Yahuwah can gather the dry bones wherever they may be at rest.
Yeah, and we have Ezekiel. He talks about the dry bones. He talks about the valley that when the second Exodus comes, when the resurrection is here, it's going to be amazing, right? Our Creator can do anything, and all we see is what we see right now. But the supernatural is amazing, and His supernatural is very, very amazing, and that's why we need to stay in prayer with our Creator at all times, because there are supernatural things that we don't want to encounter that our Creator will protect us from. And when it's talking, we've read Ezekiel now, I don't know how many times, but it's very amazing how these dry bones come to life, and how the bones start shaking and rattling and rolling, and the sinews start coming up on it, and the flesh comes up, and then they're there just as regular people, and then Yah breathes into them, and they all come back to life. And that is the power of our Creator. So we have 120 years to figure this out. We were able to get 120 years to get to the kingdom, the road, and to figure this out. And that's plenty of time for most people if you are willing to take that leap and go into the world of Yah. And so let's continue on. We're heading back up to the Targums at the top. And Israel looked at the sons of Joseph and said, from whom are these born to thee? And Joseph answered his father, These are my sons, which the word of Yahuwah gave me according to this writing, according to which I took Asenath, the daughter of Dinah, thy daughter, to be my wife. And he said, and that's these are bones right here, right? So we did some research on this. This part right here is like the legends of the Jews or something. It's not real. And so that certain part right there. And he said, bring them now near to me, and I will bless them. But Israel's eyes were heavy from age, and he could not see. And he brought them to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, to see thy face I had not reckoned, but behold, Yahuwah hath also showed me thy sons. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees and worshipped on his face upon the ground. And Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right side, which was Israel's left, and Manasseh on his left side, which was Israel's right, and brought them to him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon the head of Ephraim, though he was the younger, and his left hand upon the head of Manasseh, altering his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And this other version of it says he altered his hands, which that just is kind of a non-helpful thing. Okay, and he blessed Joseph and said, Yahuwah before whom my fathers Abraham and Ishak did serve, Yahuwah hath fed me since I had been unto this day. Be pleased that the angel whom thou didst ordain for me, to redeem me from all evil, may bless the children, and let my name be called upon them, and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Ishak, multiplying or multiplied in the sea, so may the children of Joseph be abundantly in the midst of the earth. Okay.
The grand says she lost us.
Uh-oh. Anyone else? Are we there? We shall give it a quick second here, see if anyone's catching up, and also see if the chat works again. Oh, it does work. Yay. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, cast out the leaven. Yeah, that's what we need to do, and that's the problem with the Targums is there's quite a bit of leaven in this that we found, and one of the things while we're kind of waiting on this was the complete leaven was Noah's Ark. It said there was a giant, one of the giants who preserved, and he was riding on the ark like a like a bull or something, like a bull rider, and you don't find that anywhere. And I don't think our Creator preserved the giants for the end. And so you will only hear that stuff in the Targums, which is, again, when we reach into Exodus, we're not going to go with the Targums. We're going to find another good translation, and then we'll have two different translations we'll read from it. But we got to make sure the Scripture is Scripture, and we can't add stuff to it, or it's super confusing. Okay.
The grand came back. She found us again.
All right, the grand's back. All right, let's continue on. We're right here, Eli?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are right here, guys. I'm going to have to flip this off again so we can read. Okay. 17. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes. And he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. And he baraked them on that day, saying, in you Israel shall baruch, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yisrael said to Joseph, see, I am dying, but Elohim shall be with you, and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite, with my sword and with my bow. All right, now we're heading back up to the Targums for the final little piece of this. And Joseph saw his father placed his right hand upon Ephraim's head, and it was evil before him. And he uplifted his father's hand to remove it from off the head of Ephraim, that it might rest on the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Lay thy right hand on his head. But his father was not willing, and said, I know, my son, I know that he is the firstborn, and also that he will be a great people, and will also be multiplied. Yet will his younger brother be greater than he, and his sons be greater among the nations. And he blessed them in that day, saying, in thee, Joseph my son, shall the house of Yisrael bless their infants in the day of their circumcision, saying, Yahuwah set thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And in the numbering of the tribes, the prince of Ephraim shall be numbered before the prince of Manasseh. And he appointed that Ephraim should be before Manasseh. And Israel said to Joseph, behold, my end cometh to die, but the word of Yahuwah shall be your helper, and restore you to the land of your fathers. And I, behold, I have given to thee the city of Shechem, one portion for a gift above thy brethren, which I took from the hand of the Amoree at the time that you went up into the midst of it. And I arose, and I helped you with my sword and with my bow. And this other version of it says, and I, behold, I have given thee one portion above thy brethren, the robe of the first, Adam. Abraham, the father of my father, took it from the hands of Nimrod, the wicked, and gave it to Ishak, my father. And Ishak, my father, gave it to Esau. And I took it from the hands of Esau, my brother, not with my sword, nor with my bow, but through my righteousness and my good works. All right, there's something we never ever heard before on this, that he had the coat of Nimrod. We don't know if that's true or not, but one portion one piece that I want to talk about right here is right here. This is the kind of the theme on this, and this is, I guess, the kind of the theme that we're going to end with this on, is that the what he's talking about at the end of his life, when he has seen miracle after miracle, he has seen more wars and more devastation, and his kids went crazy in the city of Shechem, and there's so many different wars on this. This is his final thing that he says, but the word of Yahuwah shall be your helper. And that is what I believe is for all of us, that when we find the word of Yahuwah, when we find the laws, statutes, and commandments, that is our path to the kingdom. Now, the path to the kingdom doesn't exist without our Messiah. Our Messiah came and he became our Melchizedek priest. He became the one who did it. He is our king and our ruler. And I can't wait to see him. And I know a lot of you guys out there can't wait to see him either. And this is who's going to be the one who is leading the second Exodus. He's the one that's going to rid us and throw Satan in the pit. He's going to do all of this stuff. He is the one. And guys, it is by his blood, by his sacrifice, by his ways that he was able to show us what real patience was, what real love was, about loving our neighbors. As he's being slaughtered on that tree, he doesn't say, go off on these people. He says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. This is our example. And if we are able to take this example and we are able to find this road to the kingdom by his laws, statutes, and commands, then I hope one day that we can all meet together and that we can all high-five each other and say, yeah, this road was absolutely worth it, and it will be worth it. All right, guys. Anything else happening in the chat, Mr. Cole?
No, Chris with Bobby D says a comparison with the KJV would be an interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah, maybe KJV, because we can do a couple different versions at the top. We might be able to do like the KJV and like some other version, and then the Scriptures of Yah at the bottom. All right, everybody. This is it. This is our sign off. Jade, will you please bless our brothers and sisters out there?
Yep. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, On this wise you shall bless the children of Israel, and saying unto them, Yahuwah bless you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you, and give you peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them.
Okay, guys. This is where our dogs always seem to know that we're ending. And again, we have 10 of these guys, and we will do the best we can. But we're going to end this with Rend the Heavens. And we love you guys. We love you very, very much. Thank you so much for being part of our family here. All right, hit it. All right, family, may Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine upon you. May you find the love of the Torah. May you find grace in this. And may you guys all find the kingdom. And may we all give each other big hugs one day. Much love to you guys all. Have a wonderful day.
Shabbat shalom.